So we're talking about worksheet 17 now, right? We start with an equation. We got to graph our line. Now, we got 4 steps from our notes yesterday. The first step is kind of an unofficial first step, and that's just identifying what we got. What's our m and what's our b? Well, here in number 1, our m is 3 over 2, and our b is negative 5, right? All we did was take the number in front of x and the number being added onto the end. Here it's being subtracted, so we know our y-intercept's negative, right? So the first thing is we plot this point at negative 5 on the y-axis. Vertical axis, we go down to find negative 5 and make a point right there on the line. Remember, we're not making a y-intercept point to the left or the right of the line. It's got to be right there on the line. Then we're going to use our slope here to determine where we're going to go next. We're going to rise 3 units, and we're going to run 2 units. So we're going to rise up and run to the right because they're both positive. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, make a point. And your line should look something like this, right? Questions on number 1? Okay. So we're going to kind of fly through this because it seems like you guys were doing pretty good on this yesterday. I was going around and checking. So here's our b, here's our m, point at negative 1. Now because we got a negative 4 for our slope, right? We know that we're going to rise downward 4 units. But then how do we know how many units we're going to run? Well, we just put this over 1. And that tells us we're going to run 1 unit. Now, take a look. The negative sign is only on the 4 here, not on the 1. So we're still going to run to the right, even though now we're rising downward. Okay? So we're going to go down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to go to the right 1 and make a second dot right there. We can see that from left to right, our line is sloping downhill, so we know that we've got a negatively sloped line, and we're good to go.
How many points do I have to get to on your Excel?
Just get up to 80. You don't have to go to 100. Anyone still writing on this one? No, I think we're good. All right, number 3, y-intercept down here at negative 2. Now our slope is negative 1 over 5. Like I said yesterday, the negative sign is going to look like it's out in front of the fraction like normal. Just stick it up on the numerator. Don't worry about putting a negative sign on your denominator. Just always include it with the numerator. So we're going to go 1 unit down and 5 units right. 1 unit down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units to the right. Yes?
Did we ever get the red pins?
Oh, no, you didn't. My bad. Felt like something was missing. I've been losing a lot of red pens throughout the day, so if you don't have enough red pens in your box, let me know.
No. It's a lead pencil.
It's a lead pencil.
Look at me. You got 2 of them.
Bro, you have 2 fancy bags.
Oh, that's so funny. It's one.
What is that?
Can you guys just put these in your box, supply box real quick?
What happened to this one?
Oh, this is your supply box.
What? Wow.
That's a dime. No, that's that. smart guys.
How many do you need? One or two? Two.
Where's my pencil?
Oh, sorry. I'll get you one second. Yeah.
No, where's my pencil? Where's in my?
Yeah, I have a stack full of stuff. I'm gonna take this. You're welcome.
Noah has all of it.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna get the agendas when I get these worksheets.
Where did my pencil go? Where did my pencil go?
All right, everyone's got their red pens now. Everyone's got their rulers. Here we go with number 4. So number 4, our slope here is just positive 2, but we want to turn that into a fraction. We'll go 2 over 1. And our b is equal to 1, right? So we'll make a dot at positive 1 on the y. We're going to go up 2 to the right 1 and make a point. There's our line. So while we're going through this, I also forgot to mention, I want you to take a look at where your points are, right? Because you may get a graph that looks somewhat like that graph at first glance, but then you may notice you accidentally put your y-intercept up at 2, right? So on a test, when you're asked to graph something, if you're not exactly where you need to be, it's going to be wrong. This is a very precise procedure that we're doing. So please make sure that your points are in the right spot. Okay, because it will affect you on a test if they're not in the right spot. Down to number 5. Our y-intercept is at -4, right down here. Right on the line, right, not next to it. We're going to go up 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we're going to go to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, and make our second point. Boom, there we go. And then number 6, we'll start down here at -1. And now, because we've got -3 over 5, we're going to go 3 units down, but we're still going to go 5 units to the right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How are we feeling on the front? Yes. Yeah. How are we feeling on the front? Thumbs up, down, sideways. We're getting these answers right. We're getting our graphs. They look exactly like mine, hopefully. Okay.
Are you going to the dance, Mr. Church?
Yes, I am. I'll be at I think I'm at the front door checking people in or something like that. I don't know. I got to check. All right, our slope here is 4 over 1 with a b value of 4. Now remember, this is the one we talked about yesterday together, right?
Yeah.
So when we have a rise that's going to take us off the graph, right? If we went up 4, it's going to go off the graph. We don't want that because then it's not going to be precise. So instead, we're going to go 4 down and 1 to the left. So we're basically making our rise and our run temporarily negative. Okay, because a negative over a negative is just a positive. So we're not changing our slope. We're just looking at it in a different way. So we're going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to go to the left 1 unit and make our point. And there's our line. Now from left to right, is this graph sloping upward or downward?
Upward.
It's sloping upward, right? Is that the angle that we want for a positive slope?
Yes.
Yes, it is. So we know we did that right. Okay, here we're going, starting up at positive 3. Oops. Starting up at positive 3 for our B value. We're going to go up 3 and over 4, right there. And again, make sure we're drawing our lines all the way through those points with arrows on either end. You don't just want to connect the dots and make a line segment, because that's not a line. Yes? Yeah. Now, number 9 is another one of those where it's going to go off the graph. So let's see what we're going to do. Our slope is 8 over 5. Our B value is positive 5. So we're starting up here, way up at the top of our graph. And if we go 8 units up and 5 units to the right, we're going to be way over here in like another whole problem, right? We don't want that. So we're going to go down 8 and left 5 instead of up 8 and right 5. We'll do the inverse of both. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Down. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the right. Or sorry, to the left. And there's our line. So our rise was negative, our run was negative, but we still have a positively sloping line. Remember, those two negatives cancel each other out and get us where we need to be. And if we did continue on up 8 over 5, right, it might look like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And see how if we continued this line on, it's almost exactly in line with that point. Except I was just off by a little bit. You guys see that? How that line doesn't go right through this point? That's because once we get off the grid, now we're not measuring in an exact way. Right? Each of these squares are all the same size, but I kind of just made up how big the squares were here. You see what I mean? So just go down and left instead. Here we're starting at positive 5. We're going up 1 over 2. Our line looks like that. For number 10. All right, number 11, starting at positive 2, up 2 over 3. Boom. So once you really get into the swing of things and you understand this procedure, look how quick it is for us to get that done. Right? That's why it's just all about repetition. The more you do it, the more you're going to understand it. Here we're starting at positive 4. We've got a negative slope, so we'll go down 6, but then we're going to go right 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Our line is sloping downhill from left to right, so our negative slope there is great. Questions on this worksheet at all? Perfect. I'll leave these last two up here in case anyone's still writing. Please go ahead and give this worksheet to whoever's in seat number 1, and then stick it just either on top of your agendas, or just do 2 separate piles. I'll come by and get them both right now. And then once you get that